Tanya, you know you're not supposed to share that with someone unless they're your wife or a parent.
Well, I consider you a mother figure.
A mother wife of sorts.
My domestic partner.
Zelf.
On the shelf.
Today we have a fun video. We are going to be reading Tana's Patriarchal Blessing, I lost mine, and comparing it to Tana's Horoscope. Should we start with your Patriarchal Blessing?
I was 14 when I got it and was really looking forward to them. By then I had had like my spiritual confirmations that Jesus loved me and that therefore the church was true. So was like very much anticipating the most sacred experience of my life. It was this person who's going to give me this roadmap to my life, reveal deeply personal things that only God could know about me.
Crazy to think about the fact that Mormons think it's a roadmap for their life. That's sort of scary to me now. Some people have really specific things, so think of the ways it would influence your life. People are like, why, if you don't think the church is true, then why not leave it alone? This is actually a really good point I've never thought of before, is like, some people are basing their lives off their patriarchal blessings. Like, that happens.
Yeah.
And it's affecting like whether they'll take job opportunities or like who they'll marry or all sorts of things. That's a big deal. Like, that's a lot of power for a church to have, because it isn't just like a horoscope where people like choose to believe it or not. Like, if you're a Mormon, you believe in this. No one's kind of like half in, half out about patriarchal blessings, are they? They're like, yeah, it's from God.
Yeah. That's
not really a controversial point that we never even really think about patriarchal blessings. It's actually quite a weird part of Mormonism.
It is. The expectation that we have that we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is just to stop people from like fact checking
and
being like, oh, that didn't come through for you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because it feels more people, Yeah,
because haven't you ever read like one of the old time ones? It's like, you will be alive for the second coming of Christ. And it's like, she died 200 years ago.
Yeah, it's really interesting reading old church members' patriarchal blessings, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all just...
And I think all patriarchs like probably give really similar blessings, and that's part of it.
Well, they have in the handbook like an outline of like things that you could do, and mine is essentially that. Like,
mine was very generic.
Devastated when I got mine. I knew that the guy was phoning it in. Like, I was like, he doesn't know anything about me. So then, like, why didn't God?
You
tell
knew
him?
He was phoning it in.
I had seen my brother's patriarchal blessing, and it was like the same thing, and just all like your basic run-of-the-mill church instruction stuff. I was like, I just wanted something a little bit more personal. So after I got it, I just sat there and cried.
But that didn't make him leave. He stuck out through that.
Now everyone's gonna be like, we're gonna get a comment from Raymond, who's gonna be like, obviously he didn't understand patriarchal blessings. That's why he left, because he just wanted to be special and didn't get it.
I love when people are like, obviously he just didn't understand this thing that mainstream church narrative has never really explained like that. I got my patriarchal blessing when I was like 18. I think I was 18 or 17. I joined the church at 17. I think I got it pretty soon after. It's funny how you were like, look for clues in it that are really nothing. Anyway, let's dive into this. I
was gonna say, I do like the concept generally of like an old person who you're close to, who knows you, who sees the best in you, and someone that you actually admire and have some sort of relationship, giving you their like best intention for your life, I think is a really beautiful thing. But that's not what I got out of this. I went to a stranger's house who I'd never met before. His house had the shaggiest 70s carpet, like this long. It was like grass and like purple and white. It was amazing. And sat me down, asked me a couple questions, and at this time, like my progression of understanding about blessings changed over time. I used to think, oh, you put someone's hand on your head and the words just come, you say what it is.
That's what I thought.
And then once I started giving blessings, I was like, oh my God, that's not how it works at all. There's literally nothing.
It's more inspired.
So then I was like, oh, the priesthood is God trusting us to do what he would do if he were there. And then it's like,
I saw it as like, oh no, they would get like thoughts in their head and they'd be able to tell whether they're from God or not.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting being a woman, because I've never had to deal with like that cognitive dissonance of like,
I remember giving you a blessing and trying to explain that, just being like, hey, listen, this doesn't necessarily come from God. This is just me doing my best and God sanctifying what he will.
I know, but I'm like, okay, Tana, like, he's the most faithful person I know. Like, this is from God, okay? Yeah. I was like, Tana, you don't have enough faith. Tana Michael Gilliland. By the authority of the Holy Melchizedek priesthood, as an ordained patriarch, I place my hand upon your head to give you this patriarchal blessing for your use and benefit throughout your life. I say unto you that you are of the lineage of the house of Israel, through the tribe of Ephraim. Huge shocker. And are promised all the blessings given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob through your faithfulness. Bunch of men.
Already looking great.
Seems good so far. I bless you that you might have a long life here upon the earth. See, like right off the bat, it's like, that seems like a risky thing to say.
Yeah. Well, then if I ever die, they can be like, well, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't
you
worthy.
honor your mother and father. Mine obviously didn't say that. I bless you that you will have a strong mind and a healthy body as you keep the word of wisdom. You are eating meat more sparingly than ever right now, so you should be blessed more. I bless that you will keep your spirit strong by partaking of the sacrament worthily each Sabbath day. Kind of fallen off the...
It didn't say which sacrament. There's lots of sacraments out there.
Sabbath day. I bless you that you will always have the necessities of life through your efforts and through keeping the law of tithing and the law of the fast.
So far it's just like all the generic scriptural
it's just like,
promises.
yeah, do these things. Yeah, exactly. What's the fucking point of this?
Yeah, no, literally, that's what I was just like, he should have just said, read your scriptures.
Yeah. Tana, you have been blessed by your Heavenly Father with talents of love and compassion for our Father in Heaven's other children here upon the earth. And you have the gift of using music to beautify this world. Did he know you did music?
Okay, he asked me, he was like, so do you, and in my heart I was like, I want him to tell me to be an artist. But I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to ruin the surprise of God telling me. Which, spoiler alert, he doesn't. So then he was like, do you play any instruments? And I was like, well, I want to play the piano. I'm trying to teach myself. And he was like, okay, cool. And so then he threw that in and I was like, of course, the one thing I mentioned is the one thing that like is special or whatever.
I bless that you will continue with these gifts, which like, well, of course you're going to now. Like you just made that decision for him essentially. And always remember that you have them and improve upon them as you go through life. Boring! I bless you that you will always strive to increase your testimony. What does that mean? Like, I bless that you will always do this. Like, what does that even mean? Is he like giving you additional will to do that? And in which case, like it hasn't worked. You like did all of this shit and it didn't work.
Yeah, that is funny that we never like break down what those types of things mean. They're just these sort of abstract concepts, but it's like, is there like a chemical balance that's added to my body to give me more oomph that I need?
Well, because it's not saying I bless that as you strive to do this will happen. It's just saying I bless that you'll do it. Well, he's not doing it. So like when was the point where you like used up your patriarchal blessing like bonus that you got?
It's almost like the whole thing's made up.
I bless that you will progress through the priesthood and learn the things you need to learn, that you might go to the temple and that you might serve a mission. I bless that when the time comes to start a family, that you will seek for one of the daughters of Israel who is worthy and who will be a good mother to your children. That was me. Well, that was what was in my blessing, was being that. I bless that you will be a good husband and father. And remember that the purpose of the family here on earth is to help the members of the family to improve themselves so that they might be together again. I bless you that you will have the desire to become acquainted with those who have gone before you through studying their lives and studying their genealogy. You're right, this is really boring.
I would say that that's maybe the most accurate one so far, because my interest in family history and like my ancestors is so much stronger now than it was in the church, because in the church it didn't really see the point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because we're both really interested now in like learning about generations before us, because we understand how like traits from their psyche are passed down to ours, and like what happened to them impacts the people we are, like genetically and even like through the way we were raised. But with Mormonism, it's just like this. It's a substitute for the real thing, just like everything in Mormonism. It's just like learning their names, when they died, like dipping your head in a baptism for them. It's not like understanding your family bloodline of trauma so you can heal it. It's like so shallow and pointless almost.
The LDS work for the dead is truly dead works.
Yeah.
Because it's not connecting to what the real thing is, which is realizing that you are your ancestors.
Yeah.
Like you are their genetic code and the fulfillment of all their hopes and dreams. And so when you live, you're not just living for you, you're also living for them.
Yeah, we've both had really, I'd say, big secular spiritual experiences with stuff relating to our grandparents. And I bless that you will be a good example to those around you, and that they will see your good works and your happy countenance and will want to become like you. That did come true, but you also led me out the church. I bless that you'll have the opportunity to serve in the church, always accept callings, you'll serve diligently, opportunities to be of great benefit to those around you.
You're not even reading it.
This is so boring, I want to get onto the horoscope. I was also thought it was double-sided. That's another reason I was like, I'm never going to get through this. I bless that you will have the education that you desire, don't say that in women's Patreon blessings. That you might carry on a fruitful occupation and that you'll be able to help others. The Patreon's not super fruitful, but
Not yet.
we like to think we're helping others. I bless you that you will have a happy life and that you will spread this happiness. See, even things like that I could almost see as being so damaging, because if someone with depression, like, you know, biological depression reads that, and like, you can just imagine all the shame and stuff that they'll feel.
Oh, I've had so much difficulty, well, and now like realized how hard it was to always feel like I needed to be projecting happiness even when I wasn't feeling that way.
Yeah.
And I do think there's something to be said about faking it till you make it, and
No, I do too.
creating an environment where happiness can thrive.
But not repressing it till
But
you
not
make it.
repressing it till
Yeah.
you make it, yeah.
Yeah, you'll spread this happiness to others through your actions, and I seal this blessing upon you and seal you up to come forth in the morning of the first resurrection. Is that a special thing, like first resurrection? Or
Yeah, it's like front row seats.
Okay, I don't think I had that in mind.
Really? You
I
weren't
don't know.
sealed up? It's pretty basic.
Well,
like,
my family wasn't, I was the only woman in my family, so I don't even know. Maybe they're like, it's more
they're
special.
Like, once you get married, maybe
Yeah,
we'll...
maybe if
your
you
husband will
create a
come looking
family.
for you and say your temple name.
Yeah.
To call you up.
Okay, this was boring.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't even believe in horoscopes at all, but it seems really likely that it's going to be way better than this.
Yeah. So that is this thing that the stranger gave me, even as a 14-year-old who was deeply converted and had never... You're gonna get reviews about tossing that cat.
He loves it. It lands on his feet every time.
He does. So yeah, this was, even as a 14-year-old, I could see that this was just like a guy who just like didn't really have the gift.
Yeah.
Because I think some people are really intuitive and can get a vibe for a person.
Because there's always throughout history been sort of empaths or people that just kind of seem to have a natural understanding of psychology in a way that others don't, even if they're like not virtuous in how they use it. Yeah, so I could see.
So in comparison, when I was at this vegan commune in Hawaii, I found this old book of horoscopes, and I'm a Gemini. As
So
a
am I.
Samantha, which is
Of
funny
course.
because we used to tell people in college that we were twins.
And we are!
So my birthday's May 23rd, and this is just like a brief one of the actual birthday. It said, "Here is shown a shrewd and alert mind. You will be deeply moved by higher sympathies and become a champion of human rights. There will be a tendency to meddle in the affairs of others, and while intentions may be most charitable, many disappointments are indicated until it is learned that life's greatest rewards come to those who learn to mind their own business first. You are very capable in emergency and will be an ambassador of goodwill."
All of that seems true, but I don't think you're a meddler in other people's lives. If anything, I feel like you're someone more disposed to stay out of it and be like,
Yeah, I'm an avoidant attachment
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, but that did seem more insightful than anything in your patriarchal blessing so far, because you really are a great mind. And
Best locations for success are high places well above sea level, the mountains. I mean, even like this, these are like specific things, and even though it's not for me personally, and I'm not trying to convince you that horoscopes or astrology is real.
I just realized that I'm a Gemini too.
Yeah,
And
listen.
I feel like I do better at sea level because I'm from England and I love like there.
This was my mystical journey to this place. I really felt like I found like my people. They're just these old hippies, and we just sang John Denver together, and it was just a great time. So this may be just my Gemini reading, and there's a Gemini reading out there, because it's not just about the person, it's the whole shebang.
But the whole concept of astrology, Tana.
Yeah, the universe is way more twisted than that.
Yeah, she's a fucked up little mix.
Well, this is the thing about Mormonism that's so clear once you leave it, is that like the people there think it's this deeply intense, fulfilling spiritual experience, but it's not. It's like fast food of religion.
Yes.
It's the most like corporate box, like one size fits all religion.
Everyone trying to force like these. I think even they know that it's like confirmation bias, or that they're looking for it. I think even they know that they're not having the kinds of spiritual experiences they wish they would have.
Right.
But another thing is like testimony meeting means that everyone just slightly exaggerates a bit. Some people to more, because some people are naturally just going to be more dishonest and you know what I mean? Like everyone's has different levels of self-awareness about how honest they're being and all that stuff. So it's like other people's experiences are keeping them going too. But I feel like every time I've got into a conversation with a Mormon about their spiritual experiences, unless they're older, because I think there's something about being older where they kind of feel like they can not talk down to you, but it's just different. Whereas I feel like young people know they like can't bullshit you as much, maybe. Whereas old people can be like too sacred to share. But every time I speak to someone who's like our age, it's like they've never really had any spiritual experiences that are like anything big.
Yeah, certainly not any bigger than people of any other faith.
No way. No. And I've had much bigger experiences with the spirit since leaving Mormonism.
Like when you think about God as being life, right? Isn't that how Mormons, isn't that one of the name of God's like, I am the light and the life of the world? What kind of life?
They never even think about it though. Like,
you're right, it's not, they never would think about this, but like
so
life.
abstract and meaningless to them.
As someone who's just been in the jungle, I'll tell you that life is like, it's different and diverse and colorful and scary and individual. There's like so much happening, and yet that's not Mormonism at all. Mormonism is about fitting in these tight little boxes, these like bland colors, just the most white bread you could possibly be.
The most 1950s America.
Yeah, and anyone who's seen as any amount of eccentric is like, ugh. But like the real spiritual journey that comes, and I hate to say real because it's all subjective and it's all just as illusory as it is real for anybody, but it just seems so much more deeply personal. Yeah. Because it's not how do you fit into a box, it's how do you contribute to this box.
But like Mormons would say, well, what I'm contributing is bringing other people to Christ or bringing them into this church. But it's like, this church is so boring. How can you think this is... It's so crazy that Mormons think like this is the truest church, this is like the closest to how we should live. And it's like, surely any Mormon can look at their church and be like, this is objectively boring and
Which is why they're all thrilled that they lost an hour of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
right? If it was the best time, if it was something you really loved, then you'd be trying to get more of it.
I'd say most Mormons have not done an in-depth study of like the history of religion and spirituality throughout human evolution and like just throughout history, because if you do, you realize pretty quick like it's a house, it's just, there's nothing to Mormonism. But while you're in it and you don't really know of anything else, it's easy to convince yourself that it's huge because it's huge to you personally. Ooh, it's so strange. It's so strange, the things I didn't question.
So back to Geminis. This influence is extremely inventive and is the originator of all cunning schemes and devices. It is what men term bright and witty. It is that which makes the man of commerce. It constitutes the leading influence embodied within that sharp, clever, chameleon-like individual who makes a fortune in real estate or the stock market.
Alright, there's so much to unpack in there. Yeah. There's a big long sentence.
I'm gonna just hold on to chameleon as the main thing to take away from that.
The business commerce thing didn't feel very you.
Are you kidding me? I have a multimedia brand.
Yes. Wait, what was the other thing that it said?
The chameleon's good because I've always tried to be a kind of person that could blend in any situation. It's something I really like about.
Originator of all cunning schemes and devices. I think a lot of Mormons who comment on our videos would agree there.
Yeah, we're just trying to trick people with our cunning.
Yes.
Addressing a Gemini, I would say that you have that which is known as an intellectual type of personality. You are attractive, active, and magnetic upon first impression.
That is so true, but not true for me.
You're the other side of the twin.
I know.
Your manners are charming and pleasing. You are fond of being looked up to and respected. Under normal conditions, you will be well liked by the majority of people you meet. There are times, however, when it will be necessary for you to take stock of yourself and your personality. You are whimsical and somewhat changeable, especially in regard to people you associate with consistently. You will find it your advantage to exercise your interesting personality in the direction of self-control. Doesn't that really sound like way more like personally hitting than this?
Yeah. It's interesting how everything we're reading seems so applicable to you and not me, and I'm a Gemini. Like it's saying like well liked by most people, and that's like the way that we're polar or like first impressions and stuff. Here's the thing, this is also, the setting that you found this in is also like a setting that is people more like you, if that makes sense.
Yes, totally.
So it makes sense that a lot of things in this will resonate because
totally.
Yeah, you found it in a commune of like-minded people.
And that's what I mean by like the personalness of it is special too.
I want to know people's weirdest things they've got in their patriarchal blessings. Like, has any of your patriarchs just took a risk or said something that is not just this templated generic stuff? I feel like your patriarchal blessing was way worse than mine in the sense that mine was like still generic, but it did have more personal stuff in it than this. This is like complete template. Like there's nothing personal in here. This is there was stuff in mine that was like, oh, I remember mine said that I'll have a real appreciation of nature, and then it listed out like including the birds and the trees, and I'm like, that's so cool. And then mine also talked about like reading a lot of good books and being eloquent and expressing my thoughts, which is honestly just because the church is smaller in England, so like they knew me better. The patriarch like just knew me more, and England is also just a different perspective on everything generally, so it didn't feel as like dumb and pointless as this. But it still was dumb and pointless. It
was a huge thing of like accepting this. By the time I got to my mission, I was like, I'm grateful for my patriarchal blessing that humbled me and made me learn that I don't have to be important.
Oh God! I've heard a lot of other people say that though, that it was like a trial they had to overcome, that their patriarchal blessing was kind of generic. Like I remember in so many BYU Idaho classes, they'd be like, yeah, and I got it, and I was like, there's like nothing in here that's speaking to me, or like they would just complain about having a generic blessing and then how it was like a trial of faith, and then now they've realized that there's all these clues in it, and it's like, all right, try and find a bunch of clues in that thing.
In a way, it's sort of a microcosm of the whole Mormon phenomenon.
It really is,
like,
isn't it? Just
all like convincing yourself that the crosses you're bearing for the church are what you need to do, when in fact if you let them go, you realize
so many crosses to bear, so little rewards. And the rewards you have to come up with them yourself.
There's so little, you're banking on the afterlife to get them, right?
Yeah.
Which is sort of the difference between my spirituality now and then. It's like realizing like, oh, if I were God or you know, whatever, what kind of life would I want to create? And do that rather than being like, I'm just gonna go to church once a week and do my job and watch football and pay my tithing, and then hopefully, you know, in heaven I'll be with my family doing the same thing forever, and then it'll be good.
Can we take a brief moment to talk about the fact that every Mormon watches the Super Bowl on Sunday?
My family didn't.
I know. Well, when I was Mormon, I was like not down for that, because, and I feel like that seems, but if you say that to even like pretty faithful Mormons, they act like you're just like, you're too extreme, and it's like, but that's like the commandment, like that, this is like people getting paid millions of dollars on a Sunday to do something as frivolous as sports and like intense advertising and marketing and like all these things, and I'm like, how are you guys justifying this? Every Mormon I know on my Instagram was watching it on Super Bowl Sunday. It literally is just like that's a step too far for them, because it's just such an American thing to do that's like, that would really make us crazy. Like opposing gay marriage is like, we'll take some heat for that, but we would not be banned from Super Bowl Sunday. Hypocrite.
You're too extreme, that's why you left the church.
Yeah, that's why I left the church, because I kept the commandments too well. Cool, well we hope you like this video.
We hope you like the Super Bowl.
I said that weird. Please let us know the weirdest things in your patriarchal blessing, or just like your experience with your patriarchal blessing in general. I'm suddenly like fascinated by patriarchal blessings now that we've done this video, because I never think about them, and now I'm like, oh,
what a weird thing.
Yeah, what a crazy weird thing. Cool, if you want to support us on Patreon, links are down below. Other links to stuff are down below. Follow us places. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video, it helps us.
Yeah, thank you, love you.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.